One Man's Family, brought to you every weekday night at this time, transcribed by Bactine, the remarkable new family antiseptic and germicide. Another fine, dependable product of Miles Laboratories, makers of Alka-Seltzer. Overheard between Teddy and Paul in his studio at the top of the family home.
What time is Elwood coming, Teddy?
8:30. But he'll be early, I'm afraid.
Afraid? That doesn't sound very ardent.
He wanted to come over so we could talk about the place he bought in San Rafael. About fixing it up.
Well?
I wish you'd go look at it, Paul. I think it's just hopeless.
So that's how it is with the Barbours today. Friends, next time you go to your drugstore, ask for Bactine, the amazing new type household antiseptic. Bactine is powerful in killing germs, yet so gentle that it can be used even on babies' tender skin. Bactine has many advantages over the old-fashioned antiseptics. First, Bactine neither stings nor burns on open cuts and scratches like harsher antiseptics. Second, Bactine is a clear, colorless liquid that doesn't leave ugly stains on skin or clothing. Third, the clean, fresh odor of Bactine makes it pleasant to use. We're sure you'll find Bactine to be the ideal family antiseptic. It is marvelous for cuts, scratches, burns, and abrasions. Bactine cleanses the injury and helps prevent infection and reduce pain. As a hand disinfectant, Bactine remains effective up to 6 hours after application to guard against reinfection. So get either the 30 or 70-cent size bottle and prove to yourself that Bactine is the finest antiseptic you ever used. Chapter 18, Book 78. A cold fog is moving in from the ocean tonight and is gradually sweeping up to cover the hills of San Francisco. In Seacliff, the houses have already lost their identity. The smoke from the fireplaces swirls and rises slowly into the fog, and there is a smell of autumn in the air. In the Barbour family home at the top of the house, Paul's studio is warmed by a cheerful fire and is snug against the night. Paul is sunk deep in a comfortable old chair reading. His adopted daughter, Teddy, sits on a stool and stares into the fire.
Wish Elwood weren't coming over tonight. Nothing. Just talking out loud. Wasn't a very nice thing to say anyway.
You feeling sort of low tonight, Teddy?
Oh, I'm all right. Go ahead and read your book, Paul.
Well, you're far more interesting in this book. I was reading because I didn't think you felt like talking.
I've got to go in my room and fix myself up pretty quick anyway.
What time's Elwood coming over?
I told him to come about 8:30. He'll be early, I'm afraid.
Afraid? It doesn't sound very ardent.
Oh, I didn't mean it to sound that way. It's just that... Well, I'm not in the mood to talk about that place. Guess that's what's the matter.
You mean the place Elwood bought over in San Rafael?
He wanted to come over so we could talk about what we could do to fix it up.
Oh, that ought to be fun, making plans for your future home. I've always had the idea that was part of the joy of being engaged.
Paul, do you suppose you'll be able to go over there and look at it before too long?
Of course. I want to see it very much. Just that I've been so busy lately at the airport. It wasn't because I wasn't interested.
I know, but I do want your opinion. Couldn't the two of us go alone? And then you could tell me honestly what you think about it.
Well, what I think is very important. You and Elwood are the ones who are going to live in it.
Yes, but you can tell me whether you think the place has any possibilities and not just hopeless.
Hopeless?
Oh, not that exactly, I guess. You know what I mean.
I don't think I do. What do you mean?
Well, as it is now, it's depressing and pretty awful. Of course, Father Barbour says we'll be able to fix it up all right. When he got through talking to me, he almost had me believing it was a real dream house. When I stop and think what it's really like, I just want to give up.
Give up what?
Well, the whole idea.
Wait a minute now. Let me get this straight. Are you trying to tell me that this house has got you down to the extent that it's going to put up some kind of barrier to your marriage?
Well, if we started our marriage in a place that made me unhappy, don't you think that would be unfair? I mean, it wouldn't be a sound basis to start our life together on. Marriages these days are enough of a problem without having something wrong right at the very beginning.
You may be right, but are you sure you know what this something wrong is?
Well, I'm talking about the house.
That's what you're talking about, yes. But is that...
All right, I won't say anything more about it. I'll wait till you've seen the place for yourself. And then if you think I'm silly, okay. But until you've seen it, you're not able to judge whether I'm right or wrong. But I'll bet you'll agree with me that it's really pretty impossible.
Let's assume that it's utterly impossible, that you hate it. For the moment, let's just assume that, huh?
That won't be hard.
So, where do we go from there?
Well, that's just it. I don't know.
Don't you think it's about time you found out?
Well, I don't know why you're taking that tone with me, Paul. I'm just trying to straighten out in my own mind what's the best thing to do under the circumstances. This is a tough situation I'm in, and it's not so easy.
I didn't say it was easy. Problems are never easy. If they were, there wouldn't be problems. All I'm trying to do is to help you find some kind of solution.
No, I'm sorry. I know you are, and I want you to.
What I'm getting at, Teddy, is this. Are you using this house as an excuse to create a situation or a problem or whatever you want to call it?
Well, no. Why would you think that?
In other words, if Elwood hadn't made this mistake in getting the wrong place, you'd be quite happy and anxious to get married as soon as you possibly could?
Well...
There's nothing to stand in the way of your marriage now except the problem of this home, right?
I suppose that's right, yes.
So that brings us right back to the question of what are you going to do about it? Is it insurmountable? Or are you going to go ahead and get married and make the best of it?
Oh, Paul, I don't want to make the best of things. I want them to be right to begin with. That's what I've been saying.
Teddy, you're going to be running up against problems and trouble and situations your whole married life. It just happens that in this case you're faced with it before you marry. Maybe that's good. If you can work this out satisfactorily, you'll be better prepared to meet later difficulties.
I don't want difficulties. You get married to be happy.
If you're clinging to an adolescent concept that marriage is going to transport you to another plane where there's only moonlight and roses, you're headed for disillusionment.
Yes, but you want me to be sure I love Elwood before I marry him, don't you?
Isn't this a little late to be wondering about that? Seems to me you should have made up your mind about that before you became engaged to him. Are you in doubt about it?
No.
You are. That's why I said earlier that you should make sure that you weren't using this house as an excuse to create a problem. You see, Teddy, what you're doing is trying to find something to justify the way you feel. In the back of your mind, you're not quite sure about marrying Elwood, so you fasten on this house as a good reason for not doing it. We can always find a reason for what we do, but we ought to be terribly sure that it's the true reason. Sure, you're disappointed about the house. It isn't at all what you'd like to have. But if you really love Elwood, that wouldn't stop you marrying him.
Why are you so anxious to have me get married?
I'm not anxious.
Well, you sound that way. Makes me a little annoyed. Feel as if you want to get rid of me.
I won't dignify that childish remark with an answer.
All right, this isn't childish. What I'm going to ask you now. This is something I want you to answer very honestly and frankly. Will you promise to tell me truthfully?
Yes, I can. What is it?
Well, if you had the choice, is Elwood the type of man you'd pick out as a husband for your daughter?
I'll answer that with another question. Is Christine the woman you would have picked as the wife for me?
No. Oh, not that I don't like Christine. I'm dreadfully sorry that you weren't able to marry her, but she isn't anything like what I pictured as a wife for you. But that's different. I don't suppose there was a woman ever lived that I think was good enough for you, Paul.
Nonetheless, she was the one I would have married because I loved her, because I felt we were essentially right for each other. And that would be so regardless of what anybody else thought. Isn't it the same with you and Elwood? She's the man you want for your husband, and if you love him, then if I were you, I'd marry him, no matter what.
Oh, Paul, when I talk to you like this, all my doubts and apprehensions begin to...
Come in. Oh, hi, Cliff.
Hi. Boyfriend's downstairs, Teddy.
Is Elwood here already?
Sure is. Is it too early for you?
Well, I was going to fix myself up a bit before he came.
Oh, you look swell. Elwood's so much in love he wouldn't care if he came down to Mother Hubbard's. Is that right, Paul?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Cliff, would you mind going down and telling him it'll be a few minutes before I'd be ready?
Sure. Take your time, honey. Daddy's talking to him anyway.
I've been sitting here in front of this fire until my face is all red and shiny, I know. I just have to put on some makeup.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell him.
Thank you.
I'll fix it, baby.
Oh, why does Elwood always have to come ahead of time?
Probably because he's anxious to see you. Sort of a compliment, in a way.
I don't think it's a compliment. It's silly. I'll just keep him waiting. Maybe you'll take the hint.
You're really annoyed, aren't you?
Yes, I am, a little.
At him or yourself?
Well, why should I be annoyed at myself? I haven't done anything. It's Elwood.
You don't want to go down and talk about the house with him, do you?
No, I don't, really.
So actually you're annoyed at yourself because you feel guilty about that. But you find a reason to be annoyed at Elwood. That makes it his fault that you're out of sorts. Nice projection, huh?
Oh, Paul, I guess you're right. I couldn't love him and do that sort of thing. Why don't I go down and tell him it's no use, that he irritates me? He must. I was full of the idea of love and marriage sitting here talking to you, and the minute Clifford came in and said Elwood was downstairs, I had a feeling of resentment rise up in me as though he'd intruded. Could I possibly love him and have thoughts like that? Oh, Paul, I'm so mixed up about what to do.
I'm afraid you'll always be mixed up, Teddy, until you get to know yourself and what you want from life. If you want marriage and a man who adores you, who's steady, reliable, loyal, I think you'll find all of that in Elwood. Mind you, I don't say you should marry. Maybe he isn't right for you. I don't know. But I wonder if you'll ever find the man you'll be sure is right. It's true that Elwood isn't colorful or glamorous. It's true that he may not be a brilliant conversationalist. But you've known men who were. They intrigued you, but you didn't marry them. Why?
Because I wanted a steady, solid man for a husband, I guess. I see what you mean.
In any case, make up your mind. It isn't fair to Elwood to go on with this now I will, now I won't business. You told him you'd marry him. Either go through with it or call it off. He loves you. He deserves a definite decision, one way or the other. Now, what that decision is up to you.
All right. I'll tell him tonight. I'll tell him I'm going to go through with it. And that I'm ready to get the marriage license whenever he is.
Well, that's definite anyway. I hope it's what you really want.
So do I, Paul. So do I.
The Barbours will be back in just a moment. Friends, try the new antiseptic Bactine. Bactine is a remarkable new antiseptic, ideal for family use. Bactine is powerfully effective, yet it is gentle and soothing. Use it for cuts, scratches, and abrasions, for minor burns and chafing, to combat the infection and relieve the itching of athlete's foot. Get your bottle of Bactine from your druggist today. Use it freely. If you're not satisfied that Bactine is the finest antiseptic and all-around germicide you ever used, send the empty bottle to Miles Laboratories. Tell why you don't like it, and double the full purchase price will be refunded to you. Ask for either the 30 or 70-cent bottle of Bactine. That's Bactine. Bactine. Here's the family again.
Is Elwood in the library, Cliff?
Sure is. Sitting right on the edge of his chair waiting for you.
Thank you.
Well, cheer up, baby. You look like you were going in to face a firing squad.
Do you feel miserable with hay fever or a cold? For quick relief from your discomfort, take Tabsin Quick. Feel better quick. Tabcin. Tabsin, now at all drugstores. Tabsin is the improved antihistaminic tablet made by the makers of Alka-Seltzer. Tabsin relieves sniffles and sneezes, the watering and itching of the eyes and nose. But Tabsin does more. It can also relieve quickly and effectively the headache that is so often a part of the misery of hay fever and cold. That's Tabsin, Tabcin, for hay fever and cold misery. The bright red tablets in the bright red package at all drugstores. One Man's Family is brought to you every weekday night at this time, transcribed by Miles Laboratories, makers of Bactine. Tomorrow, Chapter 19, Book 78. This is a Carlton E. Morse production, directed by Michael Raffetto.